Hello everyone, this is Shinobi, once again with another Awaken Chaos Era video. So in this video I'm going to talk about Halia after her nerf. I would not call it as a nerf, I would rather say it was a bug fix. Ace was only attempting to change the champion's effects or buff effects based on what they had already provided in the description. Yeah, I do understand, like I was completely frustrated when that happened and I thought I will not be able to do any more of my dungeons, and I was like, oh my gosh, I invested so much on Halia, will I still be able to finish off my dungeons and the runs that I used to do with her within those 2-3 days. Like I completely changed my Witch of the Wind team, I changed my Ash team, I changed my Queen of Tides team. So am I going to complete it? And so I decided to test her again. So I did head tests when I did the champion spotlight. You can see the test results out there, and so I started to do the test again on her. And what I found was that Halia's nerf did affect her damage. It made my Witch of the Wind runs longer by 3 rounds, but it did not have any effect on my Queen of Tides run, because obviously Queen of Tides requires the damage from Gangelo and Santis via poisons, and so things run smoothly in Queen of Tides, but I could not finish my Ash Magister team. That's because obviously because Natalie is not dealing enough damage on the mini bosses. They were able to deal damage on my Gangelo, and Gangelo could not survive the main boss's damage. But that's fine, I can just replace my Halia with my CK, so that's not an issue for me. But I was thinking, will I have to change my Witch of the Wind team again? But the truth is, I did not change any of my gear for any of my champions. None of my heroes' gears were changed. I can still do the runs just as before. Only thing is that in Witch of the Wind it was a little bit slower. So Halia's buffs are still as effective, but not to the extent that it was before the bug was fixed by Ace. And I think the damage reduction is quite high. Like from what I could test, I can see that with these teams, with the same team that I tested in my Champion Spotlight video, with the same gear that I used to test the Champion Spotlight video, the damage difference was around 15, that is 1.5 to 1.3, that is between 13,000 to 15,000 damage difference was there. So my Natalia was dealing around 13,000 less damage, and my Val was dealing around 15,000 less damage than what had happened previously. But even then, the amount of damage that was being dealt by these champions was more than what winstrix can provide through her attack up. So you will see that in my tests that will be doing now. You'll see those tests that I have done on Adventure Stage and on Gemini Dragon. Unfortunately, I cannot showcase every place. I'm still using my Halia in Arena and in other areas. You can use her in Void Tower Hard, you can use her in Endless Trial. The only thing is that you have to build a team around her that is not slow. So if you're using a completely slow, very high attack team, then obviously the damage dealt will be less, because you need to have your allies at higher speed. If they do not have around 164 and above speed, then the damage dealt by them will be reduced significantly. So I would say that you need to give your champions make them faster, and that would also mean that in Void Tower Hard, where you require a minimum of 164 speed, Halia would be very effective, and if you are giving your champions 170 or above speed, it will be good. But at the same time, you also need sufficient attack on them. So it's a balance that you will have to achieve with her. As far as winstrix is concerned, the only thing that she'll give you is an attack up and a speed up, but that's fine. It's your choice. That's the difference between opinions. Like In my opinion, when I use both winstrix and my Halia, depending upon where I'm using them, in what situation I need to use them. In certain situations I will use Halia, in certain situations I will use winstrix. Both of them have got their own uses, their own places, and you can use them in places you want to. But with regards to, does this make Halia a Vault Guardian? I do not believe so, but that's my opinion. What's your opinion? You can show me your opinion on the comments. Please do not make it into a wall of text, because I've had enough of it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to ignore those guys. You can give constructive criticisms, that's great. And as far as I'm concerned, I would request Ace to boost the damage by Ocean Slide by like around a little bit, increase the multiplier such that they can deal. The difference of 15,000 damage is a huge difference, and that needs to be reduced. Say like reduce it by 5,000 or by 8,000, so that we can recover that 7 to 8,000 or maybe even 10,000 damage out of that little tweaking that Ace can do. And I'm sure they can do that. I hope they can do that if that's feasible. But even without that tweaking, you can see that in adventure stage, winstrix is not able to provide you that kind of a damage increase as was given by Halia. So obviously she's a legendary, Halia is a legendary, so her buff should be more effective than the buffs provided by other champions, and she was specifically introduced to introduce that new buff. So I would certainly say that even though I'm not happy with the nerf, I'm not saying that I'm very happy and I'll just be like, oh, I'm going to ignore everything. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that if we are going to say that she's completely useless, then I will disagree with those people who are saying that she's completely useless. Is she a top tier, top S tier, SS or triple S kind of champion? No, she's not. She's not going to be that because of that nerf, that bug fix. She's not going to be like there at the top end where she's a triple S or S tier end. But I would say that she's somewhere in between S and A tier champion, where she's not at the bottom tier. She's certainly not at B tier, but she's certainly at the top end of A and the bottom end of S. She's very viable, and you can use her wherever you want to use her, and depending upon the circumstance that you want, the champions you have, and what you want to do with her. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that one champion should be able to boost your entire complement. No, that's not how it should be. And that's why I do not agree with Cancelo being the must for certain dungeons. I need somebody else. I want Ace to build someone else that can be used in lieu of Cancelo. And similarly, Halia must also be a little bit more boosted, but at the same time she's still viable. You can still use her in places that you think you cannot you are not able to do previously. You can use Halia to finish those off. Even if you had winstrix, it was not necessarily easy for you to finish off each other wins, or even in arena, just because having winstrix is not going to give you much benefit out of it. But Halia's buffs, as they are not counted as being a buff, you can use her in arena in places where you want to have that extra damage and that speed increase. So you can see the damage here. In my previous video in Champion Spotlight, Natalia was dealing 51,000 damage and Val was dealing around 47,000 damage, but here you can see the difference. But even with those differences, you can when we test winstrix against Gemini Dragon with the same team, no gear change except Halia's gear was given to winstrix, the damage by her attack up was less than what was from Halia's Ocean Slide. So what I believe is that, in my opinion, yeah, Halia is still not the best, but certainly there in the S or bottom tier of S or the top tier of A. If you have her, I would say that it's your choice. It's your opinion. Whatever is your opinion, you may place in the comment, but it's your choice. You can use her. She's still viable, she's still useful, and I hope that you can make use of her. So that's it from me. If you have liked this video, if you're believing that what I said is okay, nice, Please like, share and subscribe my videos. Peace, love and blessing to all of you. Bye.